scales, practice everything. Songs, commitment, hard work. They all go together. They're all wrapped in one. So I think practicing and doing it is very important. I think the foundation to great singing, and I don't think there's any great singers out there that haven't or don't do some sort of scales. I think that's very important. That's a bit like a bodybuilder not lifting weights and then the same thing, and then going into a bodybuilding competition. You can go out and sing a song, but it's, you can learn a bit from doing other people's songs, but I think the foundation of strength and stamina and technique is to do with scales. And that's very important. And also, again, not plugging our classes, but we are as well too, is that when we give scales, we customize to the person's needs and range and genre.
Do you get this question in your classes on the first lesson? Do I have talent? Do I have what it takes?
Not so much now. As I said, I deal with more sort of semi-professional to professional singers, so a lot of them already know that. But yes, I used to get asked that question a lot. I know I actually had to do the phones last week because we had a few people sick on the phones, and that was a very interesting Friday. And I remember speaking to someone, and they pretty much asked me that over the phone. And I just said, okay, if you can speak, you're using the same vocal cords that you are to sing, okay? And it's just up to you how far you want to take it. It's very, the voice is a very nearly, not scary instrument, but it's invisible. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like...
we can't show what's happening on the inside.
With guitar or piano, your fingers are doing this, you can see where it is. It's very visual. So if you learn better from being a visual person, the voice is going to be a little bit harder for you to do, because it's a lot of it is about feel inside, but then also visually seeing what your mouth, your neck and your diaphragm's doing, then also hearing. So you're really coming from three elements. If you want to be a better singer yourself, you've got to come from feel. Where am I feeling? How much is this tightening? How much air is in there? Is my mouth like this? Where am I placing the sound? So feel's a really, really big one. I don't think that I thought that I was a very good singer until I learnt placement and feel properly. Then I went, whoa, yeah, I'm placing the sound here. I'm not wearing my voice that I'm doing this or whatever it is. Like, especially if I've got a cold or a flu, I've taught for the last nearly 28 years, besides 9 days, I've taught every day. And when I've got a cold or a flu, if I'm speaking or singing, I'm speaking up here and doing this, so I'm speaking in a lighter tone. I'm not going to be going like this for the whole day, so I'll wear my voice out. So feel's a big one. And then you want to visually look at yourself in the mirror, see what you're doing. You can learn a lot from the mirror. If you go to proper dance classes, you'll be in a mirror all the time, and I think the same thing should be If your singing teacher, let's just cut straight in here. If your singing teacher is not getting, if they don't have a mirror in the effing studio, walk out straight away. And if they're not telling you to practice into the mirror, you need to ask for your money back, really, because it's so important. It really is. And I really like to have a thing that every rehearsal studio in the world should have full-length mirrors right across the front, so the bands can see what they're doing. There's only a handful, less than a handful. There's only a couple here in Melbourne that have got mirrors in the rehearsal studios. I think it's so important. So feeling and then hearing, and we've gone over analysing, so you can do all those things, but just hear. A lot of the times when you're in the moment, you hear yourself in your head, and it sounds different to the way you record. It
sounds so great. Oh my God, yeah.
I heard that a million times before.
I thought I'm so fantastic until I heard myself recording for the first time. I was like, what is that?
Yeah. I think
that was just scary.
Yeah, we were actually talking about this while we were prepping for this, about how I recorded one of my lessons live. And then in the class, I actually thought that he was going okay on the ones, but he was actually dropping off quite, and I was focusing on the pitch on the higher notes, but he was focusing so hard on the high notes, he was dropping off on his last finishing notes. And it wasn't until I actually analysed this and watched the video back going, whoa, I was focusing on the top notes, I should have been focusing on the bottom notes as well too. So listening to what you sound like.
And that's a sign of a fantastic teacher, somebody who's analyzing what they're doing as well. And improving and admitting that and telling it to the whole world, and not just going, oh, I'm so awesome.
You know, I recorded 6 hours worth of classes. I've gone only through about an hour's worth of classes so far, but you know, I'm critiquing myself, and all of our teachers get critiqued as well too, and they send in audios and lyric breakdowns. So we're always continually striving to be better, and I'm continually striving to be better myself as well too. And you know, I send stuff to Ryan, and Ryan gives me his feedback on it as well. So you know, it's very important. Actually, I think we're going to do that with you in the future. I'm going to send, because Ryan just sends me his and I critique Ryan's. I think that I'm going to get Ryan to send his next audio to you. So we're going to get two different spins at it as well too. So in the future, remind me that Ryan will just send it to you and to me. Commitment. So scales is... Got to practice scales, it's the way you're going to get better. Sing songs. Always try to apply the skills we're learning in the scales directly into your songs. Sing songs, because that's really what it's about.
Can I please elaborate on the word commitment here? So commitment and hard work. It's not like, yes, I want to be a good singer. It's a dream. It's not a commitment. Commitment is, I'm going to sit my ass down, and I'm going to find a song that is good for my voice, and then I'm going to stand my ass up in front of the mirror, and I'm going to practice the song. And I will be doing it every day, same time, or maybe earlier or later time, but every time I will find the time. I will sacrifice my Game of Thrones watching time, I will sacrifice my drinking with friends time, I will sacrifice my knitting time, you know, because knitting is my hobby and singing is my whole life, and we're working with people. So you have to make sacrifices. To commit to something means that you are choosing it over other things. And obviously there is a healthy commitment, like you still bathe and brush your teeth and you still spend time with the family, and you go to work, and there's an unhealthy amount of commitment when you're using this practice as an excuse to not do other important things. No. Build your life. Remember, we talked about it as a table. A table has to have a few legs to be stable. Your health, your family and friends, your creative output, and your work. So you need to self-improve. Be the hardest working person in the room, whatever you're doing. When you commit to something, when you're doing it, if you are in a band, you're at rehearsal, just come into rehearsal with the mindset, okay, I'm not gonna be a slouch today. I'm not going to course through this. Doesn't matter what I've had at work, how my boss was promising to promote me or demote me, and how my family wanted me to take dog to the vet and I literally couldn't, and so on. So leave all of this behind, deal with it afterwards.
I have a 2-minute rule, I have a 2-minute rule. I try to only let things pee me off for 2 minutes. Doesn't matter how. If they're bigger, I like to try to analyse it and think about, okay, what's the best way to go through this. But if it's just something minor, like if someone cuts me off or does something silly, I have a 2-minute rule because life's too short. Anyway, going back to what you're going with, sorry, yeah.
So when in a practice room, or in a rehearsal, in recording, in songwriting session, always be switched on. Think about, what else can I do better? What can I do better? How can I improve? How can I help my other musicians improve? What does my sound engineer, what does my producer want of me? How can I make their life easier? How can I how can I get more energy to do these things, you know? So yes, commitment is choosing choosing this important thing over other things that are not as important for you, and hard work. And you have to do it regularly. So you have to regularly practice that as well. Not only your skills and your songs, but you have to practice what you preach. You have to practice your commitment.
Yeah.